the market goes back into that mode where we give back at least a lot of June's gains and try to come closer to where we were perhaps at the end of May, because what we really need, what the market really wants here, is for them to start talking again.
Well, but again, we could get reports of talks and a truce and this and that. I mean, do you think there's upside if that happens this weekend, or is that now just, the assumption that's already baked in?
I think the assumption is that they will start talking again, and you're probably right. That doesn't help a lot. It might not hurt, but it might not help. What would help would be if they made some sort of deal that in order for the talks to continue, the U.S. would postpone the threatened tariffs that were on the table, they're on the table right now, and that perhaps the Chinese might make some concession on their side. That would be very helpful for markets next week.
Kim, when we have Fred Kemp talking about a 30 or 40-year realignment, what does an investor do? I mean, even with the longest time horizon, this is a giant question mark.
Sure, and I'm a long time horizon sort of investor, but 30 years is way too long for me. I think you have to bring it, you really have to bring it back. And I think one of the most interesting things that have come out in the last 24 hours is what a hot potato Huawei is, and how much China is seeing that as their way to get out into the world with a real product set and, make a difference. And I love all the earlier discussion on trying to put regulations around them by bringing them into the fold. But I think it's even better than that. Let's let them just find out what the market is for their products, hair and all on it, right? So
why is that?
I'm a markets person. Let's do that. But your original question is, what's an investor to do? Look, 3 to 5 years out there. I like technology. It's a global supply chain right now. It can't be shut down just because of the physical aspects of the supply chain, and you just roll with it. That's
Kim,
what you do.
I guess the question, though, would be, look, does the government need to act as the police force here? In other words, there's clearly a market for Huawei's equipment. It's lower cost. This is a huge problem for a lot of rural telecom carriers, for example. It could be layoffs while they try to find better equipment to compete. The market wants this equipment, but it's also not really their role to necessarily in the short term police if there are vulnerabilities that are a national security problem down the road, right? So in that sense, does the U.S. government have to come in and kind of look over the shoulder here to make sure that somebody at least is minding, what's really going on?
Well, I think that's huge. And again, my prior experience as a software engineer really lends me to look at this with a close eye. And I agree. But here's what you do. As the U.S. government can't buy it unless they know it's a clean system, a system that isn't transmitting data back to somewhere else, right? That's our biggest fear. And the rural LECs and, telecoms, I understand that problem, but how much real data goes through there? You have to ask yourself, and maybe you just cordon them off. And again, let the market decide. If you're a small rural telecom, and you're connected to the world, you can be kind of cordoned off at a certain point. So that's kind of an answer.